What up, Cucks? It's your boy. And I just wanted to say a couple of things here. First things first. We're approaching 2,000 subscribers. It was never my goal, but I'll take it, Cucks. And with that being said, when I hit 2,000 or so subscribers, I'm going to do the haters' first ever Q&A as well as Rant Mania, motherfuckers. Rant Mania Apocalypto. So you can either email the hater at indiewrestlingsucks@gmail.com or write in the comments, or otherwise tell the hater what you would like to ask him or what you would like for him to rant about. It could be about anything. It could be about wrestling. It could be about the economy. It could be about Pokemon. I don't give a rat's ass. I'll do it all, motherfuckers. I expect this to be a relatively long video, so there you have it. You know what I'm saying? Thank you guys for helping me reach this milestone that I didn't even want. And just so you know, the hater is not done yet. As the hater continues to rebrand his channel and push towards other subject matter, I expect my channel to grow because now I take it seriously. So with that being said, let's get to today's video, which is about this weird and unhealthy neckbeard obsession with Vince McMahon, right? A lot of the neckbeard fans, the ones that started watching after Daniel Bryan became champion, basically, these jobbers, these nerds, have this weird fantasy, right? That Vince McMahon is the reason why wrestling sucks today, right? But the question is, how would they know what sucks and what doesn't? They started watching wrestling after Daniel Bryan won, which in my opinion was the beginning of the end, along with CM Punk's reign, you know what I mean? That's when the company started pandering to the neckbeards, and that's why Batista was screwed out of his WrestleMania moment, and it was given to Daniel Bryan instead. We never looked back from there, and now all we see are neckbeard, mid-card level guys getting opportunities that they don't deserve. If you had told me 10 years ago that one day, and I know it doesn't count as a real main event, but that one day, Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, and Jimmy and Jey Uso were going to be the main event, I would have spat in your face. I would have laughed at you for how stupid that sounds. Yet here we are. People now are going to probably try to create a Kofi Mania moment with Jey Uso. And then these people are the same ones that tell me, oh, Vince McMahon is out of touch. He only likes big bodybuilding types. No, motherfucks. Vince McMahon had plenty of love for Shawn Michaels, Jericho, and a few other people, Eddie Guerrero, you know, all these people that got pushes, right? Because they were entertaining. So that's the first mistake. The idea that Vince only likes this particular type of wrestler. Vince likes two things: charisma and things that draw, right? So that's why, for example, you have Logan Paul, right? Because he draws. For better or for worse, Logan Paul is going to draw a lot more viewers than, I don't know, Angel Garza. You know what I mean? Like, who gives a shit about Angel Garza, right? Nobody cares. That guy will never draw a dime in his life. So with that being said, this brings me to my second point, right? The weird trend of blaming Vince for everything. The reality is that Triple H has no idea what he's doing, and his philosophy has been in NXT for a long time to basically sign everybody that, you know, is a free agent from the independents and has made somewhat of a name for themselves. Some of these guys are good, and some of them suck. For example, Eric Young, great. I love Eric Young, one of my favorites. Right? Samoa Joe, as soon as they signed him, I'm like, this is going to lead to absolutely nothing. You know what I'm saying? This is just a complete waste of everyone's money. This guy's got Bull Dempsey written all over him. You know what I mean? And I used to like Samoa Joe. But the fact is, his mystique just went completely to zero after Kurt Angle beat him, right? He had his title run, which was uneventful. And then that was it. The best part of Samoa Joe was his early TNA run. I don't even care about the ROH crap, right? Now Samoa Joe is out there reigniting his feud with CM Punk that, quite frankly, nobody gave a rat's ass about back in the day, right? Because when that was happening, you had people like Batista, Cena, Orton, you know what I mean? Sheamus later on coming up, you know what I mean? So you had people that were much more exciting in WWE than Samoa Joe and CM Punk. But it is what it is. The idea stands, right? The idea persists that Vince McMahon is ruining wrestling. Now, I won't bother everyone again with a number one reason why this is wrong, which is the fact that Vince McMahon pretty much invented wrestling as we know it. Oh, but what about this promoter? What about some guy in the territories? What about him, motherfucks? Those guys suck ass. You know what I'm saying? Vince McMahon is the last of those guys. He beat all of them. He ate their companies. He bought them out. And he had a vision to make wrestling mainstream. Imagine if you never heard what wrestling was and someone, Vince McMahon, came to you and said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take fake combat, completely fake, nothing real about it, pretend tough guys, and have them fight each other in a make-believe sport that is exaggerated, where people jump on each other and do finishing moves and interact with the crowd, and I'm going to make this a global phenomenon. You would laugh at his face. You'd be like, what? You mean the circus? You're gonna just make the circus and put combat in it, right? And he'd be like, watch me, right? And he did it. That's the difference, cucks. That's the difference between Vince McMahon and Triple H. Triple H is just another guy who wrestles, and he comes in and he's an intelligent person, as far as I can tell, but he thinks that he really gets it better than everyone else. And the reality is he doesn't, because if he did, he would have a lot of successes under his belt, right? But the truth is that a lot of the people that he hired specifically, right, were pretty much jobbed out and became complete NXT jobbers, right? Everyone that was signed, you can look at the NXT roster over time, and you can see how many of those people are still around, right? You can take someone like The Miz, for example, right? You can take someone like The Miz, who is obviously a WWE product, you know, he's a WWE guy. He fits the WWE mold, right? And you can see the career longevity that Miz has had, despite the fact that he's being jobbed out to lesser wrestlers like Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano, you know what I mean? But he's been around for a long time, and he likely will continue to be around in some capacity for a very long time. Why? Because he's better than, let's say, Kenta, right? Kenta can have all the build that he could possibly get from Japan and everything else. Oh, Kenta's a big star in Japan. Nobody gives a flying fuck about him in Japan. Nobody told you that, you know what I'm saying? And you just keep bringing these people in, and it's like, wow, I don't understand. Why is Kenta failing? Why is Sin Cara failing? Maybe because Sin Cara is just not that good, right? You already have Rey Mysterio. Sin Cara is just like the 19th attempt to find a new Rey Mysterio, and they're all such shit that Rey Mysterio is still in the company, killing it, right? Because you're never going to replace someone as good as Rey Mysterio. It's just not possible, cucks. But Triple H thinks he can. He really thinks that hiring Bronson Reed is going to make a difference. And it doesn't, motherfucks. Meanwhile, there's actual people in the indies that WWE has passed up upon many, many times, right? That could have actually made an impact. Namely, the Briscoe brothers, for example. Oh, they're not PG enough. You can make them PG. You know, just don't have them cuss. You can give them the same roughneck attitude, and it would have been just fine, right? It would have been just fine. But because Triple H is more concerned with Kevin Owens, who I don't even know why this guy ever became popular in ROH, right? He's concerned with people like Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. You know, there's no room for people like the Briscoes, who really are the heart and soul, right? Why didn't you sign back Shelton Benjamin earlier and Charlie Haas as well, right? You could have had incredible tag team feuds, but instead of doing that, you just put Shelton Benjamin with Chad Gable and you expect that to work. Oh, Chad Gable's just like Charlie Haas. No, he's not, motherfuckers. He's completely different, right? That's another one. Chad Gable, you think Triple H was behind that? Probably not. Triple H is behind everyone that he thinks is going to succeed because they have the capacity to succeed elsewhere. And that is the sign of a shitty business person, right? You know, look at LA Knight, right? The amount of times they passed up on him. Brian Cage, Powerhouse Hobbs. There's a few wrestlers here and there that you think to yourself, wow, how did they pass up on this? And then the answer is, oh, I know how. It's actually very obvious how. They're too busy finding Sin Cara in like AAA wrestling in Mexico and thinking, oh, he's a big star here, therefore he's going to be a big star in WWE. Same thing is happening right now as we speak with Dragon Lee. This guy was like a big deal in the indies, and I actually like Dragon Lee, right? But what's he doing? He's tag teaming with Nathan Frazier on NXT, like Elevation, or whatever the fuck it's called, right? He's a Level Up or whatever, right? He's tag teaming with Nathan Frazier, and Triple H gets it, but Vince doesn't. What Vince would have done instead is he would have taken someone like Nathan Frazier, he would have taken someone like Dragon Lee and said, look, kid, the character Dragon Lee isn't good enough. You know, take off your mask, here's a lawnmower, right? And you'll be part of the Mexicools, right? Which was much more memorable than Sin Cara, right? Look, here's the best example of why Vince McMahon gets it, right? Who is the greatest Japanese wrestler of all time? No one's gonna guess this right as far as the hater is concerned, right? People are gonna say dumb shit. Oh, I think it's Kenta Kobayashi, which on his stupid ass Wikipedia, it says widely considered one of the best wrestlers in the world or of all time. He's not. Nobody knows who he is, right? Oh, who could it be? Is it Nakamura? He won the Royal Rumble. No, it's not Nakamura. It's not three-move Nakamura, right? Oh, is it Okada? Is that who you're talking about? No, motherfuckers. I'm talking about the only Japanese wrestler, except for maybe Funaki, who has shown charisma and has made an impact and therefore is memorable. Tajiri, motherfuckers. The answer we were looking for was Tajiri. Vince McMahon created Tajiri. Tajiri was just like a serious dude in Japan. And then Vince McMahon's like, all right, this whole kicking people in the face thing is going to work once in a while, right? If we need Tajiri to be serious and have the Cruiserweight title as a heel, we can make him be serious and give him a little stable of two jobbers, right? But in reality, Tajiri's most memorable stuff were during the Attitude Era, and specifically during the Invasion angle, where him and Regal had their little back and forth. Tajiri became United States champion, right? And it was presented as a big deal. Tajiri rules. He was hilarious. He could go in the ring. He had cool moves like the tarantula and the mist, right? A simple finisher, and more importantly, he could emote, right? He could emote. Now, Nakamura can emote, but who cares? He thinks he's cooler than you. He's not. You know what I'm saying? Tajiri was a goof. Remember that time when Chavo Guerrero got hurt and Eddie Guerrero needed a new tag team partner, so he chooses his friend Tajiri, and Tajiri comes out dressed as Chavo and acting like a Latino? That was hilarious, right? Tajiri rules for doing that because it was funny and it was clearly a Vince McMahon creation, right? Because it's funny to see Tajiri presented as Chavo, right? It's just hilarious in and of itself, right? But nowadays, you have Kenta. Oh, I'm now Hideo Itami because it means hero of pain. Does it? I thought it meant hero of the 5'6"ers, because that guy's about 5'6", 145 pounds. Nobody gives a fuck about this guy. Him and Finn Balor beating the Ascension was ridiculous. Those guys are two monsters. And then Finn Balor and fucking Hideo Itami beat them with double foot stomps. Get the hell out of here. You know what I'm saying? It's stupid. So what I'm getting at here is this, motherfuckers. Vince McMahon obviously gets it. What he does not only draws, because everyone knows that it drew more, right? But it doesn't matter if it draws. It was memorable, right? Kevin Owens is not memorable, right? Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, the Usos are not memorable. People are saying, oh, the Usos are the best tag team of all time. No, they're not. They're not memorable, motherfuckers. They're not memorable. They've had this good stint right now, but I'm not going to say that they're better than the Dudleys, who are memorable. The Hardys, who are memorable, right? Pioneers, people that had basically new gimmicks and new ideas and things that were presented differently, right? That's why we haven't seen anything like the Dudleys since the Dudleys, and we've seen the Young Bucks, which have had great success in the Indies, right? Because they've pretty much emulated the entire career trajectory of the Hardy Boys, right? The only thing they haven't done is feud with each other, right? Because they're still in the small time, if we're being honest. So the idea that Vince McMahon doesn't get wrestling is just ridiculous, right? And the implications behind it are even worse, because the implications are that the neckbeards get wrestling, right? That someone who started watching after WrestleMania 32 thinks now, oh, Ziggler, they started watching Ziggler when Ziggler was like 40. Oh, Ziggler's underrated. He should be the WWE champion. Why? Because you think he's cool because he has spaghetti blonde hair? I don't think he's cool cut. Vince doesn't think he's cool. He doesn't draw, and he's not memorable, right? You know how I know he's not memorable? Because a few years later, they tried to make a new Ziggler. And I thought to myself, why did you need Ziggler? His name was Tyler Breeze. It was the exact same character, the exact same look, the exact same self-absorbed attitude, right? Nothing changed, right? Oh, this guy's gonna be the next Ziggler. And people were saying that as if it's like some sort of like, you know, like something to be proud of, right? Some sort of achievement. He's the new Ziggler. Oh, you mean he's the new jobber that's overrated vastly? You know what I mean? Meanwhile, the real wrestlers that Triple H could have pushed forward, like Bobby Roode and things like that, who's like 45 and still looks amazing, right? These guys would have made it whether if Triple H was in charge or Vince was in charge. But if Vince was in charge, Bobby Roode would have gotten a push. But no, because Triple H is in charge and Bobby Roode is basically, if we're being honest, he's Triple H, but like, you know, in my opinion, just younger and, you know, I mean, I love Triple H as a wrestler, but let's be real, Triple H, he was one of the more boring guys in the Attitude Era, right? He was like the 12th most entertaining guy, but he was presented as the 3rd most entertaining guy. And Bobby Roode is like one of the better guys right now. So Triple H doesn't want to push him, because why push him when you can push Bray Wyatt for the 19th time? And I'll leave with this, motherfucks. Vince McMahon is taking a hands-off approach. And Eric Young decided that he did not want to work with Vince McMahon. One of the issues around this, which I respect, of course, right? One of the issues around this, right, was the direction of the new Wyatt family stable. Apparently, they were gonna have fucking Eric Young be like Ramblin' Rabbit or something. Ramblin' Rabbit was gonna be a character now, so of course Eric Young's like, yeah, I'm not doing this shit, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna blame it on Vince, but it has nothing to do with that. That's obviously a Triple H creation. Vince McMahon has taken a step back from the creative process, right? So everything you see is what Triple H thinks is cool. Triple H thought it was cool to have Mike Bennett come back again and have him be Sister Abigail. Look it up, motherfuckers, I ain't making it up. That's what Triple H thinks is cool. Vince McMahon thinks it's cool to have a man called Kane come from under the ring, right, and destroy The Undertaker as his long-lost brother who was burned in a fire accident, in an arsony, I guess, that was perpetrated by The Undertaker. So think about that. Eric Young as Ramblin' Rabbit. Where can that possibly go? Where could it possibly go? It only ends with Eric Young being fired or repackaged as the jobber Eric Young. So why would he take that, right? He might as well just wait and be like, all right, maybe they'll have something for me in a few years or something. I don't know. Right? Why would he take that job, right? This was also a Paul Heyman suggestion, by the way, cucks. This is a Paul Heyman idea. So that tells you what Paul Heyman understands about wrestling, right? Versus a complete character called Kane, right? Who comes out and his goal is, oh, my brother is now in this, entity called WWF, right? I'm gonna go and whoop his ass because he burned my face with my father along, right? This creates drama and character for both Kane, who is a legend, as well as The Undertaker, right? Who doesn't even need that shit, right? That's how good Vince McMahon was. That's how good the writing was back then. Now, we have Bray Wyatt, a fat jobber, who, he's been around for like 10 years, and nobody knows what the hell's going on. I got into a debate with some neckbeard, and he was like, oh, you have to know the lore of Bray Wyatt. No, I don't, motherfucker. The lore is boring. It involves something called Ramblin' Rabbit. So I'm gonna just click away from that. I don't give a flying fuck. We get it. Bray Wyatt is a dark character. It's never gonna work out. It never has. And I was right about that too. So with that being said, in conclusion, cucks, Vince McMahon is wrestling, and everyone else that thinks they understand it better than Vince don't, right? Nobody understands wrestling better than Vince. There's not one human that is breathing right now, or that has ever breathed before, that understands wrestling better than Vince, because he invented it, motherfucks. He invented it. This would be like, I don't know, finding Shakespeare, right? Finding Shakespeare, even though he didn't invent plays, he's considered the best playwright. And then some jabron right now, some 19-year-old being like, oh, I think Romeo should have not died, and maybe Juliet should have been a man, so that you could show like gay love, and then being like, this is better than Shakespeare. No, it's not. You can have your idea, right? But you cannot tell me that it's better than the original, right? Nothing is better than when Vince McMahon was in charge. You can see this. You can see how for better or for worse, motherfucks, Raw and SmackDown are definitely comparable. They're a little bit better, but they're comparable to the shit that is AEW. AEW is literally a neckbeard with money trying it out. Trying it out, motherfucks. And this is comparable to Triple H. Therefore, by the transitive property, it seems that Triple H is also, in his booking capacity, a neckbeard who doesn't get it, right? Oh, Shane's gonna come and save the day. No, he's not, motherfuckers. He's not Vince, right? The fact that Vince came up with all those good ideas, and Triple H and nobody else basically has come up with one good one except for maybe Vince Russo. Everybody else has this idea that like wrestling is supposed to be something else, right? Jim Cornette thinks it's supposed to be the serious sport, and he's right in some regards. And then you have people like the Young Bucks who think it's not supposed to be a serious sport, and they're right in some respects too. But nobody gets that it's about entertainment. It's about characters. It's about emotional connection. And how the hell can I be emotionally connected to Angel Garza, motherfuckers, or Hector Garza for that matter, motherfuckers? Who are these jabrones? Nobody cares. With that being said, cucks, take care of yourselves.